Gumi family. I'm here with Mike Tam, and I'm going to ask him a couple of questions. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a little bit about his background. Mike is an eye doctor, and he went to UCLA and majored in biochemistry. And then he went on from there to go to Berkeley and become an eye doctor. And so you're pretty, you've been heavily educated in the sciences. And I'm just wondering, coming from that background, is it reasonable to believe in a God who created the world?
Yeah, I have a strong conviction that it is actually very reasonable to believe that there's a creator, that all the sophistication and complexity of the eye, all these things didn't happen by accident, but really are because there is a creator. And so it wasn't always that way. I would say that when I was a young kid, I started going to church. But in high school, when I started to learn about evolution, I really began to question, is there a God? The things that were being implied through evolution, the assumptions that were being made, seem to indicate that there is no God. And if there is no God, then, why would I go to church? I don't want to just go to church just to go to church. I didn't want to believe in something that's false. I think for myself, I have a strong conviction around wanting to know what's true, and then living based on that truth. And so in high school, I really dug deep, and I came to understand that the fossil record doesn't show that there are, kind of intermediate species like Darwinism teaches, but you see one species in the strata, and then you see in the next strata kind of a whole different species. You don't see those intermediary species that is so important for Darwinism to actually be true. So there's many other things in terms of these assumptions that are being made, had been made, and then are being taught, that I found were like, okay, the fossil record doesn't really show this, these other things don't really show that, yet it's being taught as fact. So that was one reason that kind of helped me understand, okay, at least with evolution, it's not a cut and dried kind of case. I think other things that I looked at, which were like history, archaeology, fulfilled prophecy, prophecies that were given hundreds of years before, thousands of years before, that in the Bible, all these prophecies came true. And because of history and archaeology, we know that they weren't just written after the fact. Those also help me understand that what I read in the Bible is believable and is credible and has outside evidence backing it up. And so these are some of the reasons why I came to understand, okay, well, I think God does exist, can exist, but it's more as I've gone through life where I've come to experience other things of God that have really solidified my conviction that God is real. And so I have, as a doctor, I have seen miracles happen, things that could not be explained by just medicine or by the science. And really, it could only happen by the intervention of, in a supernatural way, of another being. And so, for instance, there were two people, one friend and then a friend of a friend, who had trouble with getting pregnant. And they tried all these different things, and essentially they were told they couldn't get pregnant. And so for this one friend, I had prayed with this person when I came to know about this, and then again, against all odds, this person ended up getting pregnant. And after having tried everything and no longer trying anything because she was told she couldn't get pregnant, and then she got pregnant, and then she has a healthy baby boy. And then another friend of a friend who asked for prayer for a similar reason and was able to pray, and then they also were able to get pregnant. And so these are just two quick examples of things that I've seen where it cannot be explained by the science or by anything else. And it's against pretty much all odds, all probability, because they've already tried everything and it didn't work. And so, again, there's other examples too of where I've seen God really do things that could only happen if there's a God.
Wow, that's an amazing story, Mike. Thank you for sharing that. So I have another question for you. And you believe in God. Some people don't believe in God. What difference does believing in the God of the Bible make? How does that impact your life?
Yeah, well, if God is true, it is real, and I happen to believe that now with strong conviction, then I would say that what I know of God from the Bible and just my own personal experience is that God is a God of love. And, knowing that I'm loved unconditionally by the creator of the universe means that I have value, means that I have worth. Knowing that the God of the universe, the God of all creation made me means that not only am I special, but that he has purposes for me. And so sometimes in life, things can happen, bad things can happen even, but knowing that there is a love, that there is a God who loves me and has a purpose for me, allows me to have greater strength in going through these storms of life, in living for a deeper purpose. And I think there are studies that show that people who live with purpose actually live longer and live more fulfilled lives. And so we could live for many purposes, like I need more money, I want to make more money, or I just want to have more fun and more pleasure, but these are all short-term things. And ultimately, if there is a God, and if we do live for eternity, then what are the purposes that we would live for that are worthy of eternity and worthy of God? And so I think that it gives us a certain strength, it gives us a certain groundedness to be able to not only survive but thrive in the ups and downs of life.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing your story with us.